Attention passionate San Francisco 49ers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on San Francisco 49ers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true San Francisco 49ers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and San Francisco 49ers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. You know I love bringing you the freshest, most exciting updates from around the NFL. And today's headline is perhaps one of the most intriguing rumors we've seen in quite some time. A.J. Brown, yes, the star wide receiver of the Philadelphia Eagles, being potentially traded to none other than the San Francisco 49ers. Can you imagine that? A move that could truly shake the NFC landscape to its core. But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture here, because this isn't just about a single player. It's about strategic shifts, team-building philosophies, and the 49ers finally making a bold statement in this offseason. The 49ers, as many of you know, have been a powerhouse for several seasons now. They have a roster stacked with talent, from a dominant defense led by Nick Bosa to an offense that, when firing on all cylinders, is among the best in the league. But last season, things didn't go quite as planned. After back-to-back trips to the NFC Championship game, the team finished with a disappointing 6-11 record. And that's a stark reminder that even teams with immense talent need to adapt, evolve, and sometimes make bold moves to stay at the top. And that's exactly why the potential acquisition of A.J. Brown is such a game-changer. Let's talk about the player himself for a moment. Brown, who's just 27 years old, is one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the NFL. Since entering the league, he's been a consistent yardage machine, surpassing 1,000 receiving yards in each of the last 3 seasons, with a career-high 456 yards in 2023. Despite playing only 13 games last year, his impact was undeniable. When healthy, Brown is a true WR1, big, fast, physical, and a nightmare for defensive backs. His ability to create separation and make contested catches makes him a perfect fit for any high-powered offense. Now, it's important to understand the context here. The Eagles, as much as they are a Super Bowl contender, are not immune to making tough decisions. The NFL is a business, and teams often have to weigh the value of a player against the cap, draft capital, and roster flexibility. Philadelphia has shown that they're not afraid to make bold moves, as we saw with their recent trades and roster adjustments. A.J. Brown, despite being a key piece, could be on the trading block, especially if the Eagles see an opportunity to upgrade or draft a future star. The rumors gaining traction suggest that if the Eagles decide to move on from Brown, the 49ers could very well be one of the frontrunners to make a deal happen. Why? Because San Francisco needs a legitimate WR1. Last year, the wide receiver room was a bit of a roller coaster. Brandon Ayuk showed flashes of brilliance but was hampered by injuries, and Deebo Samuel, who was supposed to be a Swiss Army knife, was traded mid-season. John Jennings and Ricky Pearsall are talented, but they're not the consistent, game-changing talents that a team aiming for a Super Bowl needs. Adding A.J. Brown to this mix could be exactly the spark that transforms the 49ers offense into a juggernaut once again. Imagine a receiving core with Brown, along with Ayuk, who's still young and developing, and the versatile Deebo Samuel if he remains in the fold. The options are endless. And let's not forget, Brock Purdy or whoever is under center in 2025 would have a true WR1 to throw to, someone who can take the top off defenses and make those critical third-down catches. It's not just about adding talent for talent's sake. This move could be a strategic response to the evolving landscape of the NFC. The Eagles, with Brown, have been a thorn in the 49ers' side, especially in recent playoff matchups. The 49ers need to close that gap, and acquiring a player like Brown would be a statement. It would send a message to the entire league that San Francisco isn't content to just compete, they want to dominate. But let's talk about the logistics here because, naturally, many fans are asking, is this even realistic? Well, for starters, the Eagles are in a position where they could be tempted to move on from Brown if the right offer comes along. They're reportedly looking for draft capital, first-round picks, second-rounders, and more, because they want to keep building this championship window. The hypothetical deal that's been floated around involves the Eagles receiving a 2026 first-round pick, a 2027 second, and a 2027 fourth in exchange for Brown. It's a package that's attractive, especially considering Brown's age and production. Looking at the bigger picture, this move could be a win-win. The Eagles get draft capital to continue reloading, perhaps even better young talent that fits their future plans. The 49ers, on the other hand, get an elite receiver who can immediately elevate their offense and help them contend once again. And it's not just about this season, it's about setting up a long-term dominance. Because, let's face it, the NFC West is becoming increasingly competitive, and the 49ers need that extra weapon to stay ahead of teams like the Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals, all of whom are trying to catch up. And speaking of the 49ers' current roster, it's worth noting how close they are to being a complete team. With Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, and a stout defense, they have the core ingredients for a Super Bowl run. But in today's NFL, offense wins championships, and the difference often comes down to explosive playmakers. A.J. Brown is exactly that. His arrival would not only provide immediate impact, but also send a message to the rest of the league that the 49ers are serious about reclaiming their throne. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, wait, isn't Brown just about to turn 28? Isn't he already at his peak? And you're right, but that's also what makes this move so intriguing. Brown is still in his prime, and given his track record, there's every reason to believe he can continue to produce at a high level for several more seasons. Plus, in the NFL, age isn't as big of a barrier if a player is still performing at an elite level, which Brown clearly is. Let's also consider the strategic implications. The 49ers could look at this as an all-in move, a way to maximize their Super Bowl window. The NFC is wide open, with the Eagles and Chiefs still on top, but the 49ers have the talent and the coaching staff to make a serious push. Adding Brown would give them that extra edge, that X factor in the clutch moments. And if they manage to pull off this trade, it could change the entire narrative of their upcoming season. Now I want to pause here for a second. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest San Francisco 49ers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Because honestly, this kind of move isn't just about filling a need, it's about making a statement. It's about showing that the 49ers are willing to do whatever it takes to get back to the top, to reclaim their spot as NFC contenders and ultimately Super Bowl champions. And I know many of you are eager to see how this unfolds. The NFL offseason is always unpredictable, and this rumor has everyone talking. Will the Eagles actually trade A.J. Brown? If so, what will the 49ers have to give up? And how will this impact the entire NFC landscape? These are the questions that keep us all on the edge of our seats. But one thing is clear, the 49ers are monitoring the situation closely, and if the opportunity arises, they will be front and center, making a serious push for one of the league's most talented receivers. Looking ahead, the 2025 season could be a transformative year for the 49ers. With the right moves, they could re-establish themselves as the team to beat in the NFC. Remember, they're already a well-coached, disciplined team, and adding a player like Brown would only enhance their chances. It's about creating that perfect storm, a potent offense, a tough defense, and a coaching staff that knows how to get the most out of every player. Now, let's talk about the broader implications. If this trade does happen, it could set a precedent for other teams. The NFL is a league where aggressive moves often define champions. The Rams did it with Stafford and Kupp, the Chiefs with Mahomes and their high-powered offense, and the Eagles with their dynamic roster. The 49ers are no different. They've shown that they're willing to be aggressive when it counts, and perhaps this is the offseason where they decide to go all in. And don't forget, the 49ers have a rich history of making bold moves in the draft and trades. From trading up for Trey Lance to acquiring players like Christian McCaffrey, they've consistently shown a willingness to take risks to secure the ultimate prize. This potential A.J. Brown move fits perfectly into that mold, an audacious, high-reward gamble that could pay off big time. So, as we wait to see how this story develops, one thing is for sure. The NFC West is about to get even more interesting. The rivalry with the Eagles might heat up, and the NFC playoff picture could look entirely different come next season. The 49ers are at a pivotal point in their franchise history, and making a move for a player like Brown could be the catalyst they need to finally get over the hump and bring home that elusive Super Bowl trophy. And now, San Francisco 49ers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Do you think it's a smart move for the team? Would you be excited to see A.J. Brown in red and gold? Or do you think the price might be too high? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the 49ers community. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and insider news, so stay tuned for the latest San Francisco 49ers news. We're in the off-season, but the excitement is just beginning. Let's keep the passion alive, and as always, go Niners.